Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Move Early, Move Often. It's Twisted Tuesday. I am Blake Martin. And yeah, we're not going to spend too much time. If you've got kind of groovy, slow jam music that you can play, if I wasn't restricted by copyright laws, I'd be playing all kinds of bossa nova or something, kind of, to give me that kind of gentle island feel. Today we're going to be focusing on stretching the side part of your body. We really a lot of times we focus on the sagittal plane, the front and back of things. And today I want to focus on this plane that goes from across this way. It's called the coronal plane. And it's actually, we kind of ignore it. And in fact, when we talk about the front of our bodies, we talk about the backs of our bodies, but we only talk about the side of our body if we fall on it. So let's take a second. We're going to warm it up. We're going to go through four different stretches. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Not much to say here. Let's get to it. With your groovy music playing. Let's I've got a little beepy thing here. It's going to beep at you every little once in a while. Just going to get up. We're going to just kind of put your hands in the air and wave them around like you just don't care. Just you're a bamboo, you're a frond. Oh, you're like kelp. We're just kind of going back and forth, slowly side to side, a little bit bigger. Reach over, reach over, reach over, reach over. Cross, cross. Just gentle. We're just moving. We're not really kind of getting into a stretch or anything yet. This is very much about just moving. Just moving. And now I want you to start like you're skiing, spring skiing. You've got that, you've got the zinc on your nose. And we're just kind of gently moving from side to side and just kind of hula your hips around. Just hula them from side to side. Hula them. The hulaing is important. And just a little wider stance. Rocking from side to side, just kind of over the top. Now it's almost like we're telemarking, but not quite. Get your ski poles ready. I feel like I gotta have my ski poles ready. Your heel would be coming up if you were telemarking. Okay, not telemarketing, telemarking, which is a very, very different thing. And just kind of explore in there. Just move your hip a little bit. Oh, we're getting into the stretches. All right, arms up overhead. Take hold of one arm and draw it over to the side. And just inhale. We're not going all the way into the stretch, okay? Imagine that if the stretch is a scale of 1 to 10, you're just kind of right around a 5. Not very deep at all. We're going to do this 2 times on this side, so we can afford to not go very deeply.
1. Rest.
All right, just shake out your arms. We do the same thing on the other side.
1. Exercise 1.
Around a 5. Remember, not going to the full distance. You're just leaning over top, holding on. Try to keep your shoulders facing the wall, the front wall, or your screen, square to the wall. And just exploring around a 5. Anchor that hip into the ground, feel like the opposite leg is anchored down.
1. Rest.
Okay, we're coming back to the first side. Very simple set of stretches today.
1. Exercise 1.
And really reach this time. Going up around a 7 or an 8, still not at an 11. Now what I want you to do is just with your hand, just kind of pull your top arm away a little bit and feel that your hip and leg is anchoring down into the earth. Breathe naturally and fully. You can pull your arm back a little bit.
3,
You'll feel kind of a
2,
stretch in the front.
1. Rest.
There we go. These nice 30-second stretches, they're
3,
good. They start getting
2,
at some of the fascia.
1. Exercise 1.
Opposite side. Get yourself set up in the stretch. And then start reaching into around it on a 10-point scale, around an 8. Okay? Nothing too aggressive here. Really anchor that hip down into the earth and draw the hand away. We'll be coming to
3,
a kneeling
2,
stance next.
1.
All right? So in a warrior stance, here we are. All right? And then we're going to reach that same arm up over top. Now we've kind of locked the hip a little bit here. There's less movement in the hips, so now we're going to stretch a little bit further and draw the arm back more. And you'll feel the stretch a little more anteriorly, so we're going back a little bit further.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Match your knees. Opposite
3,
leg up.
2, 1. Exercise 1.
And draw it over, and then reach back behind your head just a little bit. So we're getting lateral, a little bit anterior as well. And I feel this kind of tightness in through my side here. It feels almost like under the skin. It's the superficial fascia. I can just feel it pulling a little bit. And I'm breathing naturally. We're not in the deepest part of the stretch yet.
3,
We're
2,
still around a 5 or
1.
6.
Rest.
And match your knees. Let's come back to the
3,
first side.
2, 1. Exercise 1.
And again, leaning over. This time we're going for an 8. Let the tops of your toes be on the ground. And just pull back a little bit further. Pull up and away, pulling back towards the corner of the room. Inhale, just breathing deeply and naturally. Just feel this. Feel it opening.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
And bring your arms down, matching knees.
3,
Opposite leg.
2, 1.
Toes are down.
Exercise 1.
We're leaning over to the side and going to the back corner of the room. Just breathe. Trying for about an 8 here. The next set we're going to be kneeling, like a what's it called? It's called seiza in Japanese. I don't know.
2, 1.
So we're coming down here. Here we are. And we're going to do the same thing. We're stretching to one side. And this time a little bit forward. So you're kind of pulling to the front corner of the room. And about a 50% stretch, 5 on a 10-point scale. Just breathing naturally. Really anchor your hip down. Don't let it come off your heel. We're getting all
3,
along here.
2, 1. Rest.
The latissimus dorsi muscle. Well, let's
3,
set up for the opposite
2,
side.
1. Exercise 1.
The latissimus dorsi muscle, it's really, really long. It goes all the way from your pelvis up to your arm. And so we're taking advantage of that. We're getting this muscle, we're targeting it a lot here. For our next stretch, we're going to do what's called the Supermodel Stretch. Oh, I need to do this each side one more time. I'm out of control. Somebody
3,
stop me.
2, 1. Rest.
And first side
3,
again.
2,
Reaching diagonally
Exercise
to
1.
the front of the room. Your hip is anchored. And kind of now bow into your hip. Press just a little bit outward so that you're pressing into this stretch. You're kind of sinking your hip towards the stretching side. So your right hip is just shifting a little bit to the right to give you a little bit more stretch.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Coming down. Opposite
3,
side.
2, 1.
Reaching to the front.
Exercise 1.
We're going for the 80% stretch this time, and we're kind of pushing our hip over just a little bit. So my hip is shifting because I'm stretching my left hand over my right, or it probably looks like my right hand to you. I'm shifting that hip, the same hip, over. I'm just breathing deeply and naturally. And now I'm going to go into my supermodel stretch.
2, 1.
So we're going to come down onto our side. You're going to extend your legs out to the side, step over, and you're going to sit with your hips stacked, one on top of the other. You may need to bring your hand up a little bit higher or a little bit further out, depending on your level of flexibility. And just being stacked here, with your hips one on top of another, and then flex your toes on your bottom foot so you don't risk the outside of your knee.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Right? We'll refine that a little bit, coming to the other side.
2, 1. Exercise 1.
Stacking the hips, stepping over your leg, flexing your foot, your dorsiflexing it, and press your heel away from your hip. So your heel, your extended leg is pushing away. It's trying to push the opposite wall away. All right. And you should give, when you're in this posture,
3, 2, 1. Rest.
You should give smoldering looks at the camera.
3,
It's the
2,
only
1.
real acceptable way to do
Exercise
this
1.
exercise. Hips one over top of the other. Foot dorsiflexed, heel pressing away. And lift your hand. You can bring your hand closer to your hip if you need a little more stretch. For most of us, this will do. And you can rock this hip just slightly forward. And it's going to now bring the stretch a little more anterior.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
All right. And let's go back to the first side.
3, 2, 1. Exercise 1.
You'll probably notice that they were all called exercise 1. It's a programming issue on behalf of the my programming secretary. He will be fired promptly. Heel pressing away from your hip. And smoldering look at the camera. Rock a little bit forward just to get the anterior part of
3,
this
2,
muscle.
1.
All right. Let's come out of that. Now, after you've kind of stretched, done a concentrated stretch on like a part of your body, it's good to do a little bit of exploration. So let's just reach over top. Reach over top. Just because we don't want it to kind of, you want your body to say, hey, this is possible now. Just stretch. This is very similar to what we did in the beginning for our warm-up. Just push your hip into that. Explore a little bit. Explore a little bit. Back and forth, the other side. We can wave our hands around in the air like we just don't care. I think it would be much more relaxed if we just didn't care. So you care a little. Not like you just don't care, but like you care a very modest amount. All right? And let's do our skiing, our schussing. Let's just explore that a little bit. Pushing into those side aspects of our body, the coronal plane that we were exploring today. Yes, friends, you have a side of your body. You are not two-dimensional. All right. And then just from side to side, just rocking into your hips. All right. And let's just shake out our shoulders. Shake out our knees. Feel super tall. Draw your chin down. Just Just feel that openness that you've got all in your sides. Just focus on that for a moment. Breathe. So much loud beeping. But that's a signal that you're well beeped, well stretched. You've moved early. I hope you remember to move often. Come back and join us tomorrow for Wobbly Wednesday. And we'll be wobbling, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. Have a great day.